This basketball goal is a great toy. It encourages physical activity. It helps kids practice their coordination. It doesn't have any screens on it. It doesn't make any loud, annoying noises. It's great. And I regret buying it because my 3-year-old son, Knox, just doesn't use it. It's basically lawn decor. If you're new here, I'm Ben with the YNAB team, and this is a channel where we try to help you get good with money so you can stop worrying about money. And if you are a parent with little kids who like doing fun things, you know that that can be a source of financial worry at times. I want to get Knox fun toys that fuel his imagination and let him lean into the stuff he likes and let him play by himself for 5 minutes for the love of all that's good without making our house look like the clearance aisle at a Dollar General. So in this video, I want to talk about 4 fun things we've gotten for Knox that we actually don't regret buying. And let me be clear, this is not... It's so windy today. Why did I choose today? I'm not saying that you should buy everything that we've bought because every kid is different. And I'm not like a parenting scientist. I'm just a dad trying to do his best. But I think we all benefit when we take some time to actually reflect on the spending decisions that we've made. And I'm hoping this offers you some perspective or maybe prompts you to do some of your own reflecting. So let's get into it. So first up, we have these magnetic building blocks. It wasn't really until we were at his grandparents' who have some magnetic building tiles, not quite like these. And he and I just had a great time with them that I was like, oh, let's try these. And they have been a hit ever since. And it's really cool to see him like figure out the different kind of shapes and structures he can make. Right now, he loves to use these to make Jurassic Parks for his dinosaur toys. We like to make slow motion videos of knocking down these towers. I think this one taught me a couple things. One, I wish that before we had bought any of the other building block stuff, that we would have seen if he actually liked playing with them, watched him at a friend's house or a grandparent's house or the library or whatever, and just see how he gets along with them. In order to get the most out of a toy like this, you kind of need to get a lot, and that means a lot of little pieces just everywhere, or really big pieces everywhere. And really the problem is just that Knox didn't really ever click with any of them. And I think too, this highlights kind of what I think will be a running theme through this video, which is I actually enjoy playing with these things with Knox. There are so many toys out there that are for the kids' enjoyment and are absolutely torturous to the parents. And a lot of the toys that I'm most happy with are things that I actually enjoy playing with Knox. And I think that's really important because it means that when I'm playing with these with Knox, I'm actually playing. I'm not just, kind of entertaining him. There's plenty of that you have to do as a parent, and it's good to do. But it's really nice to have something that feels like an activity that just like both of you can enjoy. Speaking of things that could be totally torturous for parents is this electronic drum set. We figured out pretty early on that Knox was pretty into drums. He loves watching drum videos on YouTube and trying to figure out rhythms in songs. And drums are a pretty cool instrument because if you're a little kid, you can have a lot of fun playing drums without actually knowing how to play drums. You can't really do that with the flute or even really with the guitar. But the big hang up, of course, is that if you get your kid a drum set, you are subjecting yourself to a 3-year-old playing a drum set in your house. Enter the electronic drum set. Knox can whack away on this thing to his heart's content, and what we hear is that instead of... And it's not, the quietest thing in the world, but it allows him to let all of his toddler energy out and to be kind of creative and constructive and try and figure out how things work without us wanting to rip our ears out of our head. And one thing I really like about this decision we made is we went for a used kind of budget electronic drum set. And usually on this channel, when I talk about buying stuff, I talk about like, hey, don't go cheap on stuff. Don't buy something that's going to break or whatever. Get something really high quality that gives you the most bang for your buck. And I think that's generally good advice. But when this is primarily being used by a 3-year-old, it's going to suffer great damage. And the fact that this is on the cheaper side actually is kind of freeing. It lets me be a lot more laissez-faire about them just being little kids and going absolutely bananas. So yeah, if you're buying for an adult, absolutely get as much bang for your buck as you can. But if you're buying for a kid, sometimes it's really useful to get something a little cheaper, a little shoddier, that you won't feel bad when it inevitably starts to fall apart. And speaking of things that are about to fall apart, this is a visual encyclopedia of dinosaurs. The fun thing about this book is that it was originally a library book. We got a couple of these visual encyclopedias and we brought them home and the boys had fun with them. And for some reason, the library didn't want them back. So we wound up paying for these on top of some other fees. And I'll tell you, that is not the way I would want to acquire a book like this, but I do not regret paying that money. Because by going through this book, Knox has become a little Pee-wee HD in dinosaurs. Like, adults find out he likes dinosaurs and they'll ask, like, what's your favorite? And they expect him to say something like Stegosaurus or T-Rex. And he'll say something like, oh, you know, I really like the Mamenchisaurus because it has the longest neck of any sauropod. And that's cool. Like, as a little kid especially, like, knowing something that other grown-ups and other kids don't know, that's super fun. And this book gives him a way to do that, even when I'm not here to read it to him. These big, colorful pictures are just a way for him to spend time with this thing he's really interested in. You don't have to be able to read to go like, that's a weird looking pterosaur. You know what I mean? And while we're on the topic of dinosaurs, cheap dinosaur toys. 6 months ago, Knox was super into the show Spidey and His Amazing Friends. And let me tell you, we could have dropped so much money on all the different toys available, and he did ask us to. But we held back for a little bit. And wouldn't you know it, a few months later, Knox was super into dinosaurs. Something that, because they're in the public domain, tend to be a lot cheaper. How long will that trend persist? No idea. He could be over it tomorrow, or he could grow up to be a paleontologist. That is what he is going as for Halloween. All of these dinosaurs combined, I don't know if we've even spent $30 to get all of these. And that's actually great. We did an activity the other day where we froze these dinosaurs in water balloons so that they would make dino eggs that we could break with a hammer. And in the process of doing that, this Spinosaurus lost its right leg. And you know how much that has affected Knox's enjoyment of this Spinosaurus? 0. He's told me like 4 different stories as to how this Spinosaurus lost its leg. It's just part of the game now. And when you buy something that is exactly as cheap as it needs to be for a 3-year-old to enjoy it, that's kind of nice. My 2 boys are changing all the time, and there is such a temptation when they get really excited about something for me to go all in on that thing, and I'm glad we haven't. I'm glad that we're maintaining a sort of tension. And I'm glad that these things, whenever Knox and Lachlan get tired of them, if they get tired of them, they'll be super easy to bag up and pass on to some other kid. So those are 4 things I don't regret, but I want to end this video by talking about one more toy that I do regret, and that is this remote control Wall-E. Knox had just earned the opportunity to pick out a new toy, and he had just watched Wall-E. It was like one of the first movies he actually sat all the way through, which is weird. And he saw this. It was within kind of the reasonable price range, and this is what he said he wanted, and we got it for him. And this thing is loud and annoying. It takes up a ton of space, and it doesn't even work that well. But as I was working through this video, I realized that while I do regret buying this, I kind of don't regret that I do regret buying it. Like, I know this video is a lot less focused on money specifically than most of the other stuff I talk about on this channel, but really when we're talking about spending, we're just talking about making decisions and literally just putting money down on those decisions. And I think something I've struggled with both before being a parent and now that I am a parent is this idea that as a parent, I need to make perfect decisions constantly. I need to buy the right things. I need to say the right things. I need to discipline the right way. I need to have the right structure, all this stuff. And if I don't do that, my kid will be irrevocably ruined as an adult forever. And the more that I think about it, I don't think any of our kids actually need perfect parents. Like, imagine trying to live up to parents like that. What kids actually need is parents who love them and are trying their best to love them, but still make mistakes. And when they do make those mistakes, they learn from them and they move forward. Because that's just what being a human is. And if my boys are going to be learning how to be a good human, in part by watching me try to be a good human, then I think they're actually better served by watching how I deal with mistakes and process regret than if I just flawlessly avoided all of those things all the time. Because I think if we can stop talking about spending money or parenting or these kinds of things as a game where we need to get the highest score possible and talk about it more as a journey of learning and growing, I think we're all a lot better off. What do you think, Wally?